Welcome to episode 30 of Talking Shirts. I'm Mike from Hull Car Shirts, and today I'm going to take a look at the 2013 home shirt. So the 2013 home shirt was manufactured by Berda Sport, and it featured higher base across the front. So 2013 was our second and final year with Berda Sports. The shirt was very similar in its aesthetics to the 2012 home shirt. Now, that might sound quite bizarre in terms of this bottom red bit. If you were to kind of look from the chest up, it had the red piping, it had the red line, it had the red band. There was so much which, to me, looked too similar to the previous year. I understand where they were going with the design at the bottom, but it was very similar to the 2012 shirt. That's not necessarily a negative point, but it was just an observation I made when this shirt was launched. We can see here, we have got the three crowns, 1, 2, and then the bottom here, which is part of the logo and the crest of the club. So having that sublimated into the fabric was a nice little touch, really, to sort of see that replicated within the shirt and within the design. The shirt, for me, the material was really stretchy on the player shirts, and it was very similar with that on the replica as well. I often thought that when it stretched, it just feels like it would stretch forever, and it had a really different sort of feel to it than what the previous few shirts had, because we'd kind of got to the point where a lot of the material for the replicas anyway was quite clingy, whereas this one felt a lot looser, and it was just a little bit of a change, very much different from the 2012 shirt that was with Berda to 2013. So I'd be really interested to know what sort of forced that change. Another thing, and I call this Berda tape. I don't really know why, but it's just something that I've called it. At the bottom of the shirt here, I will put a picture up so you can see it a bit better. There's a band of taping around the bottom, and this has got the grippy stuff in, which is also on the chest. Now, that is, I'm assuming, to stop the shirt rucking up. It didn't appear, it did appear on the shirt as well in 2012, so that's obviously something that those guys do fairly regularly, but just thought that was quite interesting. Another thing that I found really interesting about this shirt is with the sleeve sponsors here. So we have Jackson Building Centres at the top, and then we've got the Heinz Big, which is Heinz Big Soup. They were the Super League sponsors for 2013. And in some cases, the club applied the Heinz Big up at the top here. Put a picture up so you can see. In some other scenarios, it was applied here, above the Jackson Building Centres, which then meant that the Jackson Building Centres had to have a heat patch applied underneath where this Heinz Big is. So there was 3 different types of locations for the sleeve sponsors here. Now, I've got one where the Heinz Big is here, obviously, and I've also got one where the Heinz Big is over the Jackson Building Centres, with the bottom part there having the heat applied Jackson Building Centres sponsor. I haven't got one where the Heinz Big is up here, so that's something that I'm out on the look for, because I always like to try and get a variation of each shirt, even if it's just the smallest, minute little detail. I like to have something within my collection. So, swing it around to the back. So this shirt was worn during 2013 by Rhys Lovegrove. Rhys joined Rovers in 2007, and he was with us through to 2014. He made 160 appearances for the club, 80 starts and 80 off the bench. Nice little even split there. And he also scored 19 tries. Now, I think my fondest moment from Lovegrove was probably when he played on the wing against Leeds and scored a couple of tries. You know, it was a utility player, was Rhys. He was so good on that field that you would just fit him in wherever there was a gap. And I feel like he maybe should have earned more respect in terms of being played naturally in his forward position, but he was used at centre to quite frequently as well. So there's plenty of damage here to the word in Lovegrove. and little bits of damage around the number. So I'm fairly certain that this shirt will have been worn. However, I've not been able to 100% prove it. I have found a picture, which I'll pop up, of Lovegrove wearing this shirt with the Heinz Big sleeve patch at the bottom. So I have a really good feeling that this shirt is that shirt that was worn against Widnes in 2013. However, because I can't see the alignment of the name and the number on the back, that isn't enough for me to confirm that it was worn in that game. I'm quite picky, so I will keep on the lookout for that sort of thing. 2013 was the first year that Rovers had the GPS pockets in the back of the shirts. Obviously, sports science took a major turn at that point now, where the little chip would be able to go in there, and it would track everything from the distance covered and the locations on the pitch. It would give a lot of information, so that's kind of been a turning point for the game. And as I say, that's the first year that these GPS pockets here were applied on Hull KR shirts. So that's been the 2013 home shirt. Thank you very much for watching this episode. Check back in another couple of weeks and I'll be back with a brand new episode.